Hi everyone, my name is Iben and welcome to a rather unusual video on my channel. I don't usually do these kind of rating videos, but recently I had an interesting discussion with Otterlord, who is a long-term community member. He's been in the Planet Zoo community for a long while. He's been in the Zoo Tycoon 2 community and the Zoo Tycoon community as well for a very long time. And we had a discussion about the packs that he considered essential and the ones that I considered essential. And that got me thinking, like, if I were to recommend packs to someone who is playing the game for the first time, which packs would I suggest them to buy? And which packs would I say, yeah, you can wait with that for a while and just use these ones first. So this is my recommendation list. I am of the opinion that you kind of need all the packs if you want to have the full zoo experience. So I rank them in this order. We have an essential list, the ones that I think you should get when you get the game, so right from the bat. Then I have a criteria which is buy first. It's the one that I consider, like, once you've played with the base game and the essential ones for a while and you want to have another DLC, buy one of these first. The next row is the buy next. For me, is that those are the packs that are still interesting, but they are not as important as the other ones. And the buy when on sale are basically the packs that I think are still worth getting, but it's better just to buy them on sale. I'm going to start with the essential ones. For me, an essential pack is a pack that, when it's a scenery pack, it needs to add scenery pieces that I use in almost every build. And when it comes to animals, it comes to animals that are very common in captivity or are iconic in captivity. So those are the criteria for me. And I've got 4 packs that I consider to be essential. I'm going to start with the obvious one. I'm a zoo builder, with the emphasis on builder as well. So obviously the Euro pack is one of the essential packs. The Euro pack adds a bunch of pieces that are super versatile and super useful. A bunch of these pieces are less versatile but more focused on more historic kind of builds, which, especially for zoos, and zoos are often several years old, like you have zoos that are over 100 years old. So being able to build classic buildings is very important in this game, and the Euro pack adds a bunch of pieces to make that possible. On top of that, it also comes with a bunch of smaller pieces. It has the decal pieces. This is basically the scenery pack that I will tell anyone to get right from the bat. I can understand that most people consider the animals of the Euro pack not that interesting, but I think the scenery of the pack makes it up for that so easy. So the next pack that I'm going to add is the Africa pack. The Africa pack is kind of in the same vein as the Euro pack. It adds a bunch of really interesting plaster pieces, and it really integrates with the base game plaster set really well. And it's one of those scenery packs that I, again, use in almost every build I do. It comes with so much really interesting scenery, but on top of that, it also comes with a bunch of really cool animals. You have the fennec fox, you have the African penguin, you have the meerkat, you have the white rhinoceros. All of these animals are common in captivity, are iconic for iconic zoo animals, like a white rhinoceros is really iconic. Meerkats are really iconic. A smaller penguin species, such as the African penguin, again, is something that you instantly think of when you think about zoos. So for me, the Africa pack is very easily one of the essential packs to add. Next up, we've got 2 packs left. And I'm going to add the Wetlands Animal Pack here because it basically wins this spot simply by having the Asian small-clawed otter. A small otter species is super important in zoos. Like, almost every zoo has a smaller otter species, and the Asian small-clawed otter is also a very common species in captivity. But on top of that, it also adds a bunch of iconic animals like the capybara. It adds the platypus, which isn't really super common species in captivity, but again, it's very iconic. It adds the water buffalo, and whilst it's the wild variant, the domestic variant is very common in captivity as well. So yeah, this pack really adds a bunch of animals that I consider to be essential when you build a zoo, and it's one of those packs that also adds a bunch of smaller animals, which I am really happy about, because most zoos have a large collection of small animals, and there are still, of course, a bunch of really big animals as well, but the majority of the animals in zoos are smaller animals, so that's why this pack wins a spot here. Next up, it's going to be the Grasslands Animal Pack, because the Grasslands Animal Pack again adds a bunch of animals that are very common in captivity. You've got a wallaby, you've got an emu, you've got an armadillo, you've got iconic species such as the maned wolf, the new wildebeest. Oh, I understand that there's already wildebeest in the game, but this one adds the one that's more common in captivity. So it also adds butterflies, which is also a really cool animal to have in zoos. And for me, it's one of those packs, like if you don't have this pack, you're missing out on a bunch of really essential animals. And this is basically where it gets controversial, because as you can see, I've got 4 packs in my essential tier, and the Aquatic Pack isn't in there. The reason for that is quite simple. I feel like these packs add more animals that are essential or iconic to zoos than the Aquatic Pack. African penguins are a smaller penguin species, and those are the ones that you usually see in zoos. The same goes for the otter. It's also, giant otters are really cool and I like them a lot, but again, usually zoos have smaller ones, so Asian small-clawed otter wins. The caiman is a really cool animal, but the Wetlands Pack also adds a caiman, and that one is, I believe, also more common in captivity. So for me, that makes it a more essential animal than the one in the Aquatic Pack. And in terms of scenery, I find myself using the Europe Pack and the Africa Pack a lot more compared to the Aquatic Pack, and especially since we've gotten so many diving animals since that pack, I don't consider it to be as essential as it used to be. So yeah, controversial pick, I know. I know that most people would have put them in the top tier, but I'm not going to do that. I think these ones are the essential ones to begin with. Once you have these 4 essential packs, it's time to move on to the other packs. And if you have the budget to buy some more, I would go for the packs that I'm going to place in the buy first. And I'm going to start with the Australia Pack. For me, the Australia Pack one is a quite logical one to add, because although I consider the big three as areas in a zoo, which are African areas, Asian areas, and South American areas, I think the Australian areas are the next one in line. So the Australia Pack adds a bunch of really cool animals that fit in with that area to add to the zoo. I would have put it in the essential list if it weren't for the Wetlands Pack adding 2 more Australian animals, but we have the emu and we have the wallaby, and for me that was enough to put the Australia Pack in the buy first section. The Australia Pack also comes with a bunch of really cool rod and beam pieces. Those are really nice to work with, so they're really useful, and I think you should get that. I think you should get them as quickly as possible, but you don't need them right away if you don't have the money for that. Next up, when we're talking about essential packs, I would say that the North American Animal Pack is another pack that I would put in the buy first. So it's essential, but it's the one that you can skip in the first row. I'm adding this because I think the North American Animal Pack is one of the best animal packs we've gotten. It's one of the animal packs that is very versatile, adds a bunch of really cool species, and it adds a sea lion, which was kind of missing in the essential list. There's like no seal or sea lion, but I think you can get away with that in most of your zoos for a while. and only at a later date add like sea lions. They are a really cool animal to get. But on top of that, you also get an alligator, you get a moose, you get a beaver, you get all kinds of really cool animals like the Arctic fox, which are all very cool and interesting to have. Next up is, surprisingly, the Twilight Pack. I know that most people probably wouldn't put this pack this high up, but I consider it to be one of the more important packs because it's basically the cherry on top of the cake when it comes to the Euro pack. It adds a bunch of extra pieces that are again very useful for if you're building a historic zoo. And it comes with another Australian animal, which is fantastic. And so your Australian section is basically all good with the Australia pack, the Twilight Pack, and the Grasslands Pack, and also the Wetlands Pack, of course. But I also, of course, it adds bats, which is really awesome. But it also comes with like a bunch of smaller animals again, raccoons, red foxes, skunks. And as I mentioned earlier, zoos do have a pretty large collection of smaller animals, so that's why I'm putting it here. Now, the next one. I think I'm going to go for the Conservation Pack, because as we were talking about the big three in zoos, Asian areas, African areas, South American areas, the Asian areas often have like a gibbon or a siamang, and this pack adds that one, so that's really good. Przewalski's horse are also very common they are not super common in captivity, but they are very important to the captivity story, so that's also really cool to have them. The leopard that comes in this pack is also a very common species in captivity and is often used in like African areas because the leopard that comes in this pack is more endangered than the African one, so they often use that one. On top of that, the Conservation Pack adds a bunch of backstage pieces, which of course is really important if you're a zoo builder. I didn't put it in the essential list basically because I believe you can go for a while. You don't have to build backstages if you're not really interested in that. But once you've had the pack once you had the essentials pack for a while and like you've played the game for a while and you want to start building backstages and you feel comfortable with the exhibits you're building, the Conservation Pack comes in and that helps out quite well. So yeah, those are the buy first for me. And again, I know, controversial, the Aquatic Pack isn't in the second row either. And the reason for that is because the sea lions are just a more interesting animal to me than the harbor seal. And the other three animals that are in the pack, are basically already have better replacements in the essential pack, in the essential row. So again, the Aquatic Pack doesn't make the cut. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought I would have put it higher, but I didn't. So yeah, let's go to the buy next one, and of course now I'm adding the Aquatic Pack. The Aquatic Pack comes with the faux trees and the faux rocks, and to be honest, that was the hardest for me to say like, okay, you can go without that for a while because they are really cool and interesting pieces. But especially after adding the Twilight Pack to the buy first row, I realized that I could go without the faux rocks and the faux trees because of the stalactite pieces. So yeah, the Aquatic Pack, it adds a bunch of pieces that are very interesting. It also adds a bunch of animals that are really cool, and they are nice variations on the animals that you would already have if you have all the essential and all the buy first packs. Again, I completely understand that this is not what most people would have done. But I think that the other packs, like if I look at it from the 3-year perspective that we have now, the Aquatic Pack was amazing when it came out, but I think since then we've gotten so many amazing and cool packs that other packs just added more to the game, especially now since we have so many diving animals. Next up, Southeast Asia Animal Pack. That one was a hard one as well. I I went back and forth whether I would put it on the buy first or the buy next one, because again, Asian sections and zoos are a very common thing, but it comes to the point where the other packs have already added quite a few Asian animals, so the need to add the Southeast Asia Animal Pack to buy first or essential wasn't that big. If you, however, really want to make the best Asian section ever, then you're gonna need that one. And that's basically the same for any pack. If you are really interested in adding in building a Australian zoo, well then the Australia pack will become the essential zoo pack. If you really want to build a zoo with a big Asian area in your zoo, well then you're gonna need the Southeast Asia Animal Pack as the essential pack. But I think with the animals that you have in the essential and the buy first row, you can go for a while and you can still make pretty decent Asian sections in your zoo, and this is basically just a cherry on top. This will add a bunch of animals that are really useful to you. I think the next packs are kind of going to be obvious, so I'm going to go over them a little more quickly. The South America pack has a bunch of really cool pieces, and at the time those were the pieces that I used the most, but throughout the years we've gotten a bunch of really cool pieces that I don't feel like they are the pieces from the South America pack are still that essential. And as much as I like the Capuchin, the Jaguar and the Giant Anteater, I don't mind recommending people that they can wait with those animals until they had the other packs first. To be honest, I would probably recommend people to get the South America pack before the Aquatic Pack again. Very controversial, I know, but I think that it has a bunch of really cool animals that are essential to a South American area, but the other packs already give you enough to work with to start with. So it's in the buy next list. The last remaining two are obviously part of the buy when on sale. The Deluxe Upgrade Pack is in the buy when on sale, basically because the Deluxe Pack came out when the game wasn't out. So if you bought that one, you had access to the game in a beta version. So that it was worth the price it has today. But now, given that it only adds 3 animals to the game, I don't think that the price is still warranted. So I would just say get these animals when they are on sale. They are great animals to have. The Pygmy Hippo, the Thompson Gazelle, and the Komodo Dragon are really interesting zoo animals, but I can't say that this pack is worth the money at this point. It was when it came out, but given that you get so many more animals in the and or scenery in the other packs, I feel like I should say that this one is the buy one on sale. And of course the Arctic Pack goes here as well. The reason why I'm going for that is because the Arctic Pack has the most scenery that I never use. The Arctic Pack has like 2 sets that I don't think I've ever used. It has a bunch of cool beam pieces, but that's about it. But it becomes one of the essential packs if you really want to have a polar bear in your zoo. But as long as that's something you can look past, then the Arctic Pack sinks down the list quite quickly. I still wouldn't say that the Arctic Pack is a bad pack. I think it adds some cool pieces. But the other packs are just significantly better and added a bunch of really cool pieces that I think that the Arctic Pack is in the right spot here. So yeah, these are my recommendations. Again, very personal, and I know that the choice to put the Aquatic Pack this low is quite controversial. I know. I'm imagining that there's going to be people in the comments who are going to disagree with that quite heavily, and that's completely fine. But yeah, if you are new to Planet Zoo, this is the order of the packs that I would recommend you get. So if you buy the game, I think you should buy the essential DLCs right away with it as well. Or get at least one animal pack and one scenery pack. Once you got those, go for these. The Australia Pack, North America Animal Pack, Twilight Pack, and Conservation Pack all add really cool animals to your game. And then once you've got these and you've played with the game for a while, I think it won't take long until you get the other ones in the buy next row. And whenever it's on sale, and Planet Zoo is on sale quite often, but get these. Get the deluxe upgrade one. It has a bunch of really cool animals. Get the Arctic pack, and then you have your polar bear. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This is, again, not the kind of content that I usually put on my channel, but it was fun to do so. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!